Hello, beautiful people. Okay, I mentioned this morning that we might start step 4, and that is where I landed. So we're going to break it up. Step 4 is an important step, and we're going to break it up over the next however long it takes to work on some of it. And I'm going to work on it right alongside you. And for anyone out there that's not a 12-stepper or in a program per se that wants to do it, this could be a great exercise just for self-discovery. It doesn't necessarily have to be a gambling addict or an alcoholic to do it. There's actually a book that a lady wrote about, I want to say normal, it's my quotes, but people who aren't the traditional addicts working through it. And I keep trying to look it up. I mentioned it on another show, and the problem is I listened to it a while ago, and it's not in my library, but I think it's called 12 Steps for Women. It has a lotus flower on the cover. Anyway, I can't be certain until I can circle back and read it, but the description and the research that I've tried to find this book keeps leading me there. So I'm going to read step 4 in a second. I just wanted to touch base on self-care stuff. And the beautiful thing is the things that we're talking about, whether you're listening to this show in the middle of coronavirus or 10 years from now, it'll all be relevant because we should be taking care of our bodies and our minds and our spirits. So did you drink your water today? I'm going to be a nag about this. I did okay. I probably drank about 70 ounces, but I did have some celery juice. I'm trying that whole celery juice stuff in the morning. I haven't figured out if I like it or it's worth it or whatever. We're only like day 3, but it seems like it's worth a shot if it's good for you. Now that I think 11 or 12 days without cigarettes in my system. I still have nicotine coming in from my patch, and I have a little vape that I've been using occasionally as a crutch. But as far as the formaldehyde and all the other goodies in cigarettes, I don't have them. And I think I forgot to do my gratitude thing last night, so I'm slacking a little bit. So today I'm going to call out technology as the thing I'm grateful for, more specifically things like YouTube and help buttons, not just like YouTube fun stuff or people stuff, but how do I move stuff from this Gmail account to that Gmail account? Those kinds of YouTube videos. So those are very helpful. And I also want to shout out, now this part won't be evergreen, but Blue October, the band that does the song at the beginning and the end. And just so you know, I don't get paid to preach about them or anything like that. They're just freaking awesome. And their music has meant so much to my journey the last couple of years. They are doing a Instagram concert or something tomorrow night. So I posted it on my Instagram at 321 no kidding, or Bobbie the Awesome at 321 no kidding. Something like that's my Instagram handle. I'm not so good at that yet. Anyway, I'm excited about that. That's going to make for a great Friday night because I was supposed to see them last Saturday in concert, and I'm still sad about that. So I'm going to read the intro to step 4, and then I'm going to give you homework. And I decided to kick the jokes to the curb. They're really not that funny. They're actually kind of depressing a little bit when it comes to gambling jokes, and I don't want to do that. They haven't been sitting right in my gut. So instead, I'm going to do positive quotes like normal. They just might not tie into what we're talking about that day, like I try to do on a regular episode. And my last announcement is tomorrow, my friend Michelle's interview releases for a full episode. It won't be a small one like these are. I will tell you, have your tissues ready. I was emotional doing it with her, and even editing it and listening to it a second time was a lot. So have your tissues ready. It's a great story in the sense of how she conveys it and shares it. And I think that there's a lot of value. I had to split it between 2 weeks because there was just a lot of powerful stuff in there. So, all right, here goes. Step 4, made a searching and fearless moral and financial inventory of ourselves. Trust your higher power and then clean house. The first 3 steps have laid the groundwork for step 4. Surrender to a powerlessness to gamble and an inability to manage the problems in one's life. Then acquire a senior partner much greater than oneself to guide and accompany you through the remaining steps. Together, all can accomplish so much which cannot be done alone. Step 4. Now you are into the cleaning house area of your life. Now begin an intensive inner search to locate as much guilt and good as you can uncover. Okay, so cleaning house, that's kind of ironic given the circumstances, right? And take note of that, as much guilt and good. It's going to be part of your homework. This search is healthy and practical because dormant, accumulating guilt has long been an enemy. Most compulsive gamblers covered this guilt with a clever facade called rationalization. In the past, rationalization tricked us into making very bad actions seem not so good, not so bad, or even good. Honesty, and only honesty, can break down this tricky facade. Then you can see yourself exactly as you are, perhaps for the first time in your life. Face squarely the financial and emotional wrongs that have been done in order to forgive oneself. While doing step 4, how do you uncover all the guilt? A thorough reading of A Guide to 4-Step Inventory, available. You're going to hear some questions, and we're going to work out of that book during the course of this step. Then an autobiographical approach, starting with your first bet or even earlier, and moving forward to the present seems indicated. As one moves along, many areas of guilt, long forgotten, will come to mind. Perhaps you will see some of the following: overindulgence, greed, lying, dishonesty, failure to accept responsibility, self-destruction, destruction of others, excessive waste of time, arrogance, resentment, jealousy, and many others. Guilt is personal. Therefore, one must seek it out by oneself. Your mind will probably turn to loved ones and the harm laid on them, the dishing out of insecurities so generously. This guilt must be fully realized so we will not be tempted to deal with it later by further gambling. In taking inventory honestly, examine each incident that you can recall from your gambling days. This includes the things you did and those you failed to do, the physical abuse and the verbal abuse, which left a lifetime impression. There is so much manipulation of people which took from them their right to leave their own lives. No two gamblers are alike, yet none is unique. Each of us has our own collection of guilt, which must be unearthed. After discovering and digging up the guilt, one will find it necessary to rid oneself of it. The steps that follow will show you how to do this. By practicing these steps, you can attain a better way of life based on solid healing principles. With the help of your higher power, you must acknowledge guilt as you work the 4th step. Our higher power, as we understand him, can do for us what we could not do for ourselves. After completing step 4 and having accumulated your personal barrel of guilt, you can get rid of it in step 5 and find that you are an okay person. Then the good life can be maintained one day at a time. So that's the overview of the step. And we're going to look at questions. I'm going to redo the step with you. I was so lucky to do it in treatment. But who I was 3 years ago and who I am now are 2 different things. So I get to do it again with a little bit fresher mind. And for those of you that aren't gamblers, you can look at this with mistakes that you made in life, anything you might be feeling guilty about. And then just, like I said, striving to be the person you are. So here is the homework for tonight. I would like you to write down all of your character defects that you can think of. Just freestyle, write them down. But here's the catch. For every defect you write down, I want you to write down one positive attribute about yourself. So take your time and really reflect and think about how maybe others see you if you can't necessarily see it in yourself, but give yourself a shot. And like I said, I'd like to see a 1-for-1 ratio, at least a 1-for-1 ratio. If you're struggling, that's okay. Don't quit if you can't get there. We'll talk through how to do that. And that's it. That's your homework. So we will talk about this again tomorrow night. Tomorrow morning, we'll just do our reading and all that fun stuff. You'll see. So have a good night, beautiful people, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.